What ruined Christmas this year? The power went off and never came back on. We had Christmas dinner at McDonald's. All the food was ruined. My fiance cancelled the wedding. Everyone caught the flu. No one was spared. One by one my family members are falling ill and all of their post-Christmas plans are crumbling like so many gingerbread cookies. My niece and nephew's uncle on the other side of the family. His car was found randomly abandoned on the side of the road this morning. Phone inside. Vomit in the car. Back tire shredded. Whole family had to go out looking for him. He also didn't bother to get his own children any presents because they were stolen out of his car. My dad refusing to come to Christmas because his girlfriend is manipulative. A few months ago I decided to cut off my toxic drug addicted mother. Of course, being the holidays, my grandmother and a few cousins decided I needed to get into the Christmas spirit and forgive my mother because it's Christmas and my sisters miss me. I don't know what my sisters have to do with me cutting off my mom. My sisters are adults. We live 1,500 miles away from each other. Of course they miss me. I'm not forgiving someone who isn't sorry. I'm not allowing toxic people back into my life just because it's the holidays. My cousins got a mini bounce house and it popped with like 10 kids inside, all under 8. The amount of crying broke my eardrums. Found out my 19 years old sister got married to her boyfriend 5 months ago and still hasn't actually told us yet. Apparently she's waiting to tell us until she visits. None of us like her boyfriend, now husband, and he doesn't treat her like she deserves. This visit will be interesting. Got the flu. Shit my way to Christmas morning. Found out my family actually had a Christmas party. A few days ago I got a card and directions to a charity dinner. I figured that was their way of telling they weren't doing anything this year. Apparently it was actually their way of telling me I wasn't invited. My ex-wife not having the guts to tell me she was doing Christmas dinner with her sugar daddy's family. I don't give a shit if she was here, but she just ghosted my daughters and me. I even asked her yesterday if she was going to be with us for dinner and she said, "Of course I will." Why wouldn't I? It brought back horrible memories about why I left her ass in the first place. To be fair, I had a great evening with my daughters, but there was a gnawing anger in the back of my mind that I couldn't let go of. My uncle grabbing my ass and my whole family laughing about it. I work at an airport and we have to have a badge that lets us in the gates, tarmac, etc. Lost it. Lost my driver's license and my United Airlines ID badge. My mom, she's basically the Grinch this time of year. She's a narcissist and only cares about her own feelings, and my dad is a coward towards her. Me was invited to a lovely dinner by my boss with his extended family. Everything went amazingly well, even though I was nervous. I didn't drink anything due to medications, yet still managed to vomit profusely all over his car when he was giving me a ride home. Everyone forgot I'm allergic to nuts. My sister couldn't come home. She moved to another country and couldn't make it back for Christmas. I didn't think I would mind that much. I'm so lonely without her though. We had so many Christmas traditions and I didn't have anyone to laugh with me about everything during dinner. I'm thankful that she's still alive and physically here on Earth. But it was just more lonely that I expected to not have her around. It wasn't a bad Christmas. Spent it alone and in my feelings. No good food was had either. My mother-in-law tried to feed my eldest child mango, which he's been allergic to for the past 11 years. My eldest said, "What are you doing?" "Grandma, I'm allergic." Grandma said, "It'll be okay. It's Christmas." No. Food allergies don't take Christmas off, you idiot. Keep an eye on Grandma in the future. She may try to sneak your kid's hidden mango just to prove they're faking it. My mom is deathly allergic to peanuts and her own mother tried feeding them to her when she was young constantly. Just BC people didn't get allergies back then. My cousin stole my $250 and once she got caught said, "But I need it and OP, me, is too spoiled anyways." She then proceeded to get half of it after crying a fit and refused to give it back until she got some, and after all that I still don't know why her parents don't punish her since they're actually half decent. I found out I was cheated on a few days ago. Got into a big fight with my family. Completely ruined the whole day. RKO'd my dad off a ladder through a table. This happens every year. Well, no one showed up. That kinda killed the spirit. My 5-year-old looked at all his Christmas presents 3 days before Christmas, and the dog peed on the tree, which also got on many gifts. Mum has the flu, so the family voted to move the family get together to Saturday, when I work. No compromise could be made. None of my siblings or extended family invited me over for their small get-togethers, so I spent the whole day alone. Didn't even get a Merry Christmas text back from any family members. I got my boyfriend a model kit. He called it cheap and said it probably wasn't even worth his time to assemble, and then told me later on not to let it discourage me from buying things. My Bill treats my Sil, my wife's sister, terribly. Makes fun of her in front of all of us and says some pretty demeaning stuff. He basically doesn't respect her sometimes. It's heartbreaking. And quite frankly, I think it's rooted in some serious feelings of ineptitude and insecurity on his part, which are rooted in some of his upbringing. It just sucks to be around and hurts my heart. It tears my wife up something fierce too. My sister. She's having a mental breakdown and was very much in a "if I can't be happy, everyone else has to suffer" mood. My dad and his siblings fighting over my recently passed grandmother's house. My brother picking a fight with my sister over who won World War II. He was wrong and she refused to agree with him. We left when he started yelling. My sister has a degree in political science and her teaching credential in world history and geography. My dad called my girlfriend a beaner when we went over to visit. She's Honduran. Kinda had to leave after that one, especially when he refused to apologize because that's what they're called. Brother-in-law tried, albeit probably unintentionally, just by being his usual lazy, narcissistic, neck-neared, weeaboo self. While everyone else was running around helping with food prep, he sat on the sofa watching Japanese metal music videos on YouTube. When it was pointed out that we needed to get more chairs, it was left to me and my father-in-law to get them while he sat there watching more videos on stuff like how to pick locks or video editing software suggestions. He does not ever use video editing, and when someone finally asked him to put on something more Christmassy, his go-to was a compilation of Japanese Christmas commercials. He basically did nothing all day, enabled by his parents who continue to let him do whatever he pleases. They even cooked him a special meal. Of course it was a Japanese inspired recipe, because he doesn't like Christmas dinner, and he couldn't even say thanks for that. He actively avoided trying to help and was rewarded for it. SMH. Worked Christmas Eve. Through the craze. Dude in the line behind me suddenly collapsed. A quick bagger caught him and I turned around upon hearing the gasp and moved to help support him, and then I took the guy's legs as gently as I could and we maneuvered him out of the immediate walkway while others called 911. I went back to work, but I stayed aware of what was going on behind me. Luckily the guy woke up after a few minutes. An ambulance came and took him away. I don't know what the cause was exactly. Certainly wasn't hungry after that one. Glad he's okay though. Another co-worker lives alone without his family and hadn't gotten a gift in 8 years. He's moving away in some months. I got him a small bag I'd filled with inexpensive treats. Like I can afford much. He hugged me before going to his car. And I've spent today alone. The alone part is the usual part of my Christmas. My grandmother being a CT and making my mother cry. She never cries and holds her emotions back. I can't remember what it is called, but it is rare if she does. I dropped off my girlfriend at her parents' house as I was driving to my hometown. Her parents wished me Merry Christmas. 6 hours later she called me that she has met with her ex and she has feelings for him. And our relationship can't continue. Day before she said she loved me more than anything in life. We were living together 6 months and been together almost 2 years. My parents. I moved away with my girlfriend and we both are adjunct professors. My original goal in life was to become a doctor, but I got tired of school and needed a break from school, so I decided to get a job. Anyways, I saw them a couple days ago and the first thing they gift me is the option to do a summer-long MCAT prep course where I stay at a dorm for 3 months straight, about 2 hours away from my new home. They try to make it seem like a gift, but it's just them showing annoyance that I'm happy with my professor job. A day later I get a long-ass email from my dad complaining he has been working since he was 18 and would like to retire soon, so he can't help me anymore soon. He wants me to take the test before the 20th of September 20 and that he's been working so long so he could help me with my dreams. He then states that he thinks I'm stagnant because I'm too content with being a professor. I have only taught a semester, so I'm not sure how I've been stagnant, and I'm also 24, so I don't believe I'm being stagnant. Overall it hurt cause they also blame my girlfriend that I haven't achieved my dream, but in reality I'm so burnt out from 2 parents telling me constantly to study and do everything or else they'll be disappointed that I wanted a break, and so after my masters I got a job as fast as I could and moved away. Lastly, they keep saying my dream, but in reality they have taken over this dream that I'm not even sure what my dream is anymore. I really want to go to medical school, but the more they get involved it deters me. I finally got comfortable talking about studying for the test like 3 weeks ago with my girlfriend, but now I'm scared to talk about it. I know I just rambled, but it helped so much to say how hurt I was when I was told all this. I caught some sort of stomach bug at 5 o'clock this morning. Threw up 8 times since and couldn't go to my dad's for Christmas, split parents, or my grandparents' house for dinner. I've been more excited for Christmas this year than any other, and now I have to spend it in bed. Woohoo. I'm highly allergic to dogs. My entire extended family loves dogs. To be fair, this is what ruins my Christmas nearly every year. My stepdad calling me a shithead after I asked him not to bother me while I was skyping with my grandma, who's on the other side of the world, then locked himself in his computer room for the remainder of the day, but re-emerged right before I left to throw some jabs about my DUI from 4 years ago. I've been sober for 2 years. A real fun one. My dad is a mail carrier and has been having to work 12-hour days ever since Cyber Monday. Forced to work overtime, on Sundays, etc. People at the post office are literally working 80-hour weeks. They're constantly there sorting packages literally 24 hours a day. I know it's silly to complain about having too much business, but the mail service workers are severely overworked in this season. It's not much fun to celebrate a holiday that makes your work a living hell. So yeah, Christmas was ruined. My cat has been missing for over a week. We've put up posters everywhere, but there's been no sign of her. I'm actually doubting that she'll come back. I read in a cat book that if cats aren't home after 4 days they most likely won't come home and or are dead. My child yeeted a brand new Nintendo Switch controller into the wall by accident trying to shake it to fling Super Mario's hat in Odyssey. Doctor, here I worked Christmas Day, which is fine. But what wasn't fine was the patient who came in pretending to have pain and telling us that opiates and benzos are the only thing that work for her. To really play up the pain, she screamed at the top of her lungs for 3 hours straight. When we finally managed to make it particularly clear that we weren't giving her drugs, she suddenly didn't have pain anymore and stopped screaming, stood up, and stormed out. First Christmas with divorced parents. My entire family finding out that my uncle and his son, my cousin, had a cocaine addiction. But that's not all. This cousin just had a baby last week and her wife is completely destroyed. And my family too. Mum's boyfriend had a flu. Kept calling it a cultural flu that he got from working with so many Chinese. My stepdaughter's mom gets her for Christmas Eve and this Christmas Day. Her mom just decided to not bring her even though it's in the custody agreement. She sucks. The fact I'll let myself get guilted into going. God, I hate spending time with my blood relatives. My girlfriend broke up with me suddenly a few days ago and has been ghosting me. She didn't block me, she's just straight up ignoring me and my questions of why she did this. Me and my family already had gifts wrapped for her and they tried to hide them from me. I saw them. Had to cry in my room for a while. For the first time in my life, nothing. I didn't spend a second with the family that rejected me when I came out. I didn't sit while my grandparents gaslit everyone. I didn't listen to people screaming at the other with awkward tension as one spouse fought with the other over something like glue. They rejected me last year after I came out and I did Christmas alone in my own apartment. This year I spent it with my wonderful partner's family. Loving and caring people. All accepting of me and let me feel like I had a family. There was a single awkward moment that passed in a minute's time. That was it. No tears. No throwing things. No sobbing. No just kill yourself or stop complaining. I got a Christmas for the first time in my life at 30. It was wonderful. Edit. Oh my gosh. Thank you all for the kind words and gold. I didn't even slightly expect this attention. I hope those who relate to my Christmas from last year get the one I had this year. It gets better. Even when it feels like it won't. Time will help make things better. My sister spent a lot of time praising herself for the gifts she got everyone. Wash, rinse, repeat. For FCK's sake. It was 3 boxes of Peeps marshmallow candy and a stuffed Peeps duck that you found at Goodwill. That you gave to a 71-year-old man. It's not a goddamn kidney transplant. I should have just chugged a bottle of wine before we even opened gifts. My wife brought our 2-year-old down without me, so I didn't get to see his initial reaction after I stayed up until 3 AM putting everything together. Found out that the kid my parents were taking care of because his parents are hateful alcoholics was having an inappropriate relationship with my sister and smoking weed in the house and hiding a firearm with scratched off serial numbers. Woke up 4:30 to my dog whimpering at the door to the garage. Turns out someone was stealing my husband's car. Kinda late. But this might be the only place where I'll be able to talk about it. I ruined my own Christmas. Or at least it feels that way. I spent the entire day cooking with my grandma. 8 hours between spaghetti, romeritus, a lamba and bacalao narugo, Mexican dishes. First time that I actually got to cook and participate actively in the kitchen and it felt amazing. But as soon as we finishes, I noticed that we were alone. My grandma, my aunt, my cousin and me. All the family gathered on their own reunions. And then it was us. Excluded and forgotten. Not a call. Not a message. I tried to talk with a friend who I've been flirting with. She was passing through a mental breakdown sad period and just shut me off. Then tried to talk with my other friends and same. Not a single response. but they were online on different times. I only got a couple of messages from my best friend, but she wasn't in the mood for speaking since her dog passed away, and I totally get her. We both love that furry friend. At the end we just ended up watching TV and some Netflix. My family went to sleep at 10ish. I went to play video games and, well, here I am at 5 AM, trying to sleep for 2 hours before waking up to work. If someone reads this, thanks for the time and sorry for not delivering anything good after you spending it. I wish you had a better time. Good vibes to you. My social battery being drained to zero before 4 days of Christmas activities. Family bragging about how they went to Germany a few weeks ago and then at dinner being passive aggressive towards me and my mother for being poor. My partner of 3 years made a huge deal of how excited they were for everyone to open what they got for everyone. Everyone was quite happy about the thoughtfulness they'd put into it. I got from them clothes that blatantly wouldn't fit, in a style I've commented many times I don't like at all, and they decided dirty laundry would be a great way to pack said items in the box to throw me off what was in there. I'm thankful I got a gift at all, but damn, I feel like they're upset with me and are being passive aggressive about it. Or just decided I wasn't worth the same amount of effort as everyone else. Opening that in front of everyone was I'm sure this is petty as hell, but my feelings are pretty hurt. My neighbors thought they heard us arguing. GF has bad nightmare, so they contacted the landlord. Several hours after we left for Christmas vacation, she brought cops and let herself in, then called the next day to tell me about it. Our place was a mess, as we had just pulled out everything to start to pack to move. But now she says we have until Saturday to clean up this unacceptable mess, instead of all through January like we had been planning. I'm visiting my girlfriend's parents' house for the first time. I called her dog and he proceeded to jump up on the couch, over her mom, spilling red wine all over their very nice light colored couch. Her mom is obsessive about keeping a clean house. I was stressing about not spilling anything or messing up the cleanliness in any way and proceed to have the worst thing imaginable happen on my first visit. My wife telling me she wanted a certain item for the past 4 years. I got it for her and she complained why I didn't get her a necklace. Can't ever win. My ex turning up. I'm currently deployed and my girlfriend didn't call me on Christmas Day. Sliced most of my fingertip off with my dad's brand new Ginsu knife. That was fun. Waiting for the to bill me into insolvency in a few weeks. An in-law's dog attacked my dog and, when I intervened to get her off of my dog's head neck, the dog clamped down on me and broke my hand. I'd do it again to keep my dog safe. I spent over £100 on buying gifts for 7 of my family members. I didn't put myself into debt or anything, they were good f***ing gifts too. Personalized and everything. In return they got me a joint gift of a cheap selection box worth £2 and a pair of Christmas glasses. What am I supposed to do with that for the rest of the year? I was angry, but I think I hid my frustration well. I'm not really bothered about the gifts. It's just the complete lack of effort. Many of them gave each other multiple gifts each, while I got cheap chocolate. I'm lactose intolerant, and tacky glasses. I feel left out and like I was just a last minute thought. Even though we held Christmases at my house, they have never really been good at presents, but this takes the cake. No presents for me. We just took turns opening the stuff my mom received. Mom also flaked on the one thing I asked for that cost literally nothing. I also got to be verbally harassed and gaslit by her for making it about me when all I did was inquire upon the promise she had made. Thought a lot about killing myself today. Hope to God this is my last Christmas with her. I'm not one to complain about phones or technology or anything. But my family opens gifts on the night of Christmas Eve, so nobody's forced to wake up early on Christmas. Pretty much all day today everyone was just in their rooms, not really socializing, just playing their new games or trying out their new devices. It's not like I'm better than anyone else, but I dragged my game consoles out in the living room hoping everyone else would be out there screwing around on their phones. Turns out the whole tech breeds antisocial people thing wasn't referring to the time spent with the tech. It's referring to how people do it. My mum is like a Christmas dictator. I'm an only child and there's 3 of us. I flew over to visit as I feel bad them being on their own. I got a new tattoo. I have a lot already. And she spent 24th shouting at me about it, then ignoring me the rest of the day. I'm 30. But apparently her opinion on my body is what counts. Then on 25th she made us race through gifts and not actually have a chance to enjoy the process. My half sister rang halfway through and she kicked up a stink that my dad answered to her during gift giving. Then I went to eat some chocolate because lunch wasn't until 3 PM and she told me I need to dart and took them away. Basically shouted every time I wanted to have a snack as I should not eat until lunch. Basically she tried to micromanage me whilst constantly telling me I'm actually under the UK average size woman, that I shouldn't be eating, and it pretty much sucked the fun out of the day, and then I had a panic attack. I fly home today, thank God. My son was being a 7-year-old. No big deal. Mill's boyfriend looked at my son having fun with a riding car while making beeping sounds and looked to me to say, "Could you control that? It's starting to piss me off." And I'm not just talking about the car. Loneliness. Went to a friend's party and a bunch of them started teasing me that I always attend these events on my own and that I would end up alone and bitter if I didn't find someone soon. At that moment I just paused. A decade of having no real relationships and the prospect of another one right around the corner just hit me like a ton of bricks. Left the party soon after and spent the afternoon and night staying at a cafe. Still feel like shit and considering foregoing all social events for the season.